Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a very spicy little show for you today. Oh, yeah, predicting all SEC teams' first 5 games, the games in September, and some of these fan bases are going to be angry. They are not going to like this. But you know what? Sometimes you got to do some predictions. You got to talk about it a little bit. And actually, this is predictions from 247, and we'll get into that here in just a second. And this one's by Brad Crawford, again, of 247 Sports. And he talks about how it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Well, how you start matters a lot. And we're going to start out with the Missouri Tigers. They play South Dakota, Middle Tennessee, Kansas State, Memphis, and Vanderbilt. And he's projecting a record of 4-1, 1-0 in the SEC. And I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Kansas State's probably, well, no, wait a minute. Yeah, Kansas State will be the loss. He's talking about his quarterback battle between Brady Cook and Sam Horn. Let that play out in the first couple of games. Said Kansas State won its conference, and Memphis is always a competitive team. So he must be thinking Kansas State will win that game. Now we're going to pop right down into Vanderbilt. Got Vanderbilt starting out 3-2, 0-1 in the SEC. Hawaii, Alabama A&M, Wake Forest, UNLV, and Kentucky. So obviously the 2 losses would be Wake Forest and Kentucky. That Hawaii game is going to start here in just a little bit. And I'm actually recording this on Saturday. It says, can the Commodores get halfway to bowl eligibility in September? I think they certainly have a decent shot at that. They could win these games. Mississippi State Bulldogs. Got them starting out 2-3, 0-3 in the SEC. They're playing Southeastern Louisiana. They should win that. Arizona, LSU, South Carolina, Alabama. That's a tough first 5 games. That's no easy thing at all. No wonder they got them 0-3. They got to play LSU at South Carolina, Alabama, and they're not going to win those games. So, yeah, 0-3 is probably right in the SEC, winning the first 2 games. And Arizona's no gimme. Kentucky Wildcats. Listen, oh, my goodness, got them 5-0. Well, let's see who they're playing. Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, yep. Akron, yes. Low hitting Akron. Watch out for your ankles, folks, and knees. At Vanderbilt. They got beat by Vanderbilt last year, but I think they'll beat Vanderbilt this time. And then Florida. And they've had Florida's number recently. So 5-0 is a definite possibility, especially with Devin Larry. He's a good quarterback. Ole Miss Rebels and our boy Lane Kiffin. They start out with Mercer at Tulane. Tulane's tough. Georgia Tech, Alabama, LSU. Got them 3-2, 0-2 in the SEC, losing to Alabama, LSU. And a lot of people think Ole Miss has the toughest schedule in the country, and they might very well. It's brutal. Talking about Judkins, their running back. But I think that's a reasonable assumption, 3-2, 0-2. They're not going to beat Alabama or LSU, I don't believe. Certainly not at Alabama. I don't see it. Auburn Tigers with their new coach, Hugh the Freeze. UMass at Cal. That's a tricky little game. Sanford, that's an easy one. Texas at Texas A&M. And a lot of people are thinking A&M's dangerous this year. And then Georgia. 3-2, 0-2. First year of Hugh Freeze. I've got him winning like 6 games this year, so that's probably about right, 3-2. South Carolina Gamecocks. UNC Charlotte, Furman, at Georgia, Mississippi State, and at Tennessee. That's a win. That's a win. That's a loss. Probably win that. They're not going to win at Tennessee. So 3-2, 1-2. That's about right. I think that's a good prediction. That's exactly how I'd go. Texas A&M Aggies. Let's see. New Mexico at Miami. ULM, Auburn, Arkansas. Got them 5-0. Got them just whooping up on everybody so far. We'll see. Will he let Bobby Petrino actually call the plays, or is he going to take back over and just do his typical thing? We'll see. Florida Gators. This will be very interesting. They're at Utah. I believe it's Thursday coming up. And we don't know if the starter, they might be, and Utah might be with their 3rd-string quarterback. Their first 2 guys, one of them had an ACL, and he may not be ready yet. And then their backup quarterback's got a problem. So at Utah, it's at Utah. That's what makes it tough. McNeese State, that's a win. Tennessee at the Swamp. I'm predicting Tennessee wins that game, but it will not be easy. When you play at the Swamp.
You walk over, but you're limping back.
That's right. You're walking over, but you're limping back. Then Charlotte and at Kentucky, they've got them 2-3. Woo! If they start out 2-3, the Boo Birds are going to be loud.
That's not fair.
Don't raise your voice to me.
And a lot of people think Billy Napier's not going to make it this season, that he'll get fired at the end of it. But again, they're going to have to come up with $32 million if they do that. So we'll see. He'll probably surprise and play a little bit better. The Razorbacks, Western Carolina, Kent State, BYU at LSU, and Texas A&M. I don't like those two games right there. I think they'll be fine right here. 3-2, 0-2. That sounds about right. Oh, my Volunteers. Virginia, that's a win. Austin Peay, that's a win. At Florida, should be a win. UTSA will be a challenge, but it's at Neyland, and this is a top 25 team, but we should handle them, and I think we should beat South Carolina. 5-0, 2-0. There's a real good shot that's what we'll be.
Well, you just never know when another beast might come down out of the forest. You understand, don't you, Thumbaloo?
Depends on how Joe Milton plays, but if he plays like he did in the Orange Bowl, we'll be 5-0. LSU Tigers. FSU. Florida State, man, that's a tough one. Grambling State at Mississippi State. Arkansas at Ole Miss. Got them going 4-1, 3-0. They're obviously choosing Florida State to beat them. I don't know. I'm going to say they're going to be 5-0. I don't think FSU beats them. Alabama, the Crimson Tide. Middle Tennessee, that's a win. Texas, it's in Alabama, so that helps a lot. But Texas is tough, so we'll see about that. USF, Ole Miss, and at Mississippi State. Got them 4-1, got them losing to Texas. If they're going to get beat at home, it's either going to be Texas or Tennessee or LSU. It'll be one of those three. If they're 4-1, they will not be happy.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
So sorry, Alabama fans. Yep, they will not be happy with that. Georgia, the Bulldogs, 5-0. Whoopity-doo. UT Martin, Ball State, South Carolina, UAB at Auburn. No, they're not going to lose any of those games. So those are pretty reasonable predictions. I don't disagree with a whole lot of it. Of course, the 5-0 for the Vols, you know I'm going to agree with that. 2-3 for Florida. If they're 2-3, it will not be pretty. And then he's got Ole Miss starting out rough too, losing their first two SEC games, which they probably will. So this was very interesting. I enjoyed reading this. You might want to check it out. It's at 247. Very interesting article. And I haven't ever seen anybody do the first 5 games, so that's pretty cool. And I do want to talk about my sponsor today, and that's Sevierville Golf Club. Of course, I play every week. It's got 2 golf courses. It's got the River and the Highlands. The River is more of a difficult course, more of a challenge for your low handicappers, but it still depends on the tees you pick. And the same thing with the Highlands, a little bit shorter course, but again, the tees are a big difference, so just pick the ones that suit your game the best. Course is always in great shape. They really spend the money on it and keep in excellent condition. The staff there is very cordial and easy to work with. They're actually pretty kind, honestly. And I know most of them. And if you want to practice and work on your game a little bit, they have a fantastic practice facility, great range balls, excellent flat tees, and they're big. Putting green, chipping green, anything you want to work on, you can do right there. And then, of course, if you want something to eat, something to drink, they've got Mulligan's right there next to it.
Do you have any 8s? Don't you have homes?
It's a really nice 19th hole, good food, good service, so be sure to check that out. And if you want to play some golf, I highly recommend Sevierville Golf Club. You will not be disappointed. And even if it's busy, it's not busy because, remember, they've got 2 golf courses. And one thing I haven't talked about, their golf carts have computers on them, and they will give you the exact yardage from wherever you are. So you don't have to have your little handheld if you don't want to, and it really speeds up play. It's just a real nice convenience. So be sure to check out Sevierville Golf Club. Again, it's open to the public. It's called a golf club, but but they've got memberships and the public can play it as well. Just give them a call or you can book it online. 2 great golf courses, 1 great facility. All right, folks, did want to go over this, predicting all the SEC teams' first 5 games. I wanted to respond to that article. And yeah, there's going to be some fan bases that are not happy. Florida, Ole Miss, probably the biggest 2 that I can think of. I don't think Alabama's going to be too happy with this article either. They don't tolerate losses. As you know, they had 2 losses last year, and they their offensive coordinator, their defensive coordinator. I think the chancellor, the president of the university, I think they've been put on alert. I mean, pretty much when Nick Saban's upset, he just starts firing people. So we'll see how this all plays out. But Just 1 week away, folks, 1 week away. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me able to continue to cover the Vols and the SEC and all that good stuff that I like to cover. Hey, folks, I do want to remind you of one thing. Monday at 7 p.m., I will be on Talking Vols with Boogie Bentley and Big Vol Daddy. Again, that's 7 o'clock on YouTube, Talking Vols. Be sure to check that out. We're going to talk all about Tennessee and the big game coming up against Virginia. And should be a fun show. Be sure to check that out. And if you've not subscribed, it's on your right, my left. Just hit that little button. I would appreciate it. Cost you nothing, and it would help me out. And right over here's the most recent video that YouTube thinks you'll love based on your watch history. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.